because in 1964 I was preparing an exhibition for London, and just to try to make it as brief as possible, I will relate about this particular day when I woke in the morning, and after taking the children to school, or it was Michael, because at that time Sora was only 1 year old, so we took Michael to school and came back, and at around 8 o'clock in the morning I began a painting. Now the theme of this painting is extremely important in view of what took place subsequently. But when we were in Greece, Lee and myself, we were traveling, as I described earlier. We were traveling in the countryside, and I was drawing all the time. And this particular day, in some part of the Greek countryside, we saw this figure which was on a donkey, and the donkey is, you see in every country, it's the proverbial beast of burden, and it was carrying 2 heavy bags on either side of it, and in the middle was seated a woman's figure. I think, it was a woman for sure, and she had on a keffiyeh over her head, like a white scarf, and her feet were dangling over the one side, and she was just riding on this donkey, and the whole scene, the whole amazing picture was like the eternal, it's actually something you see in every country, in every landscape. You'll see the same donkey with the same rider, with the bags on either side. So it's a very, very common sight, but there's something innate in it. There's something very spiritual in it. And this donkey was in front of us, and I remember we followed it for at least 3 miles, and I was just drawing this figure on this donkey, thinking that when I got back to the studio, wherever it was going to be, in London or South Africa, I would develop this picture, because it's like a universal statement about Europe or any other place, any place. So this is exactly what happened, and I had this picture done in charcoal and black cokie, and there were quite a number of them that I drew as we followed her for quite a distance. And this particular morning when I decided to do this painting, it was about 8 in the morning, I put up a canvas, and from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock, this painting just flowed. There wasn't one hitch in it. But I had to break at 1, or it was 1 or 1:30 to go to fetch Michael from school, which I did, came back and continued to work on the painting. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, the painting was complete, and it was, in our opinion, quite perfect in the sense that it didn't need one more stroke. It was just completely finished, and very, very satisfying to our senses. And I remember Lee saying to me, because he was such a good judge of art and such a good critic for me, and actually for a lot of other artists as well, I remember he had such a good eye, and he looked at this picture and said, we're going to make a print of it. And I was like in disbelief. I couldn't imagine how we would do that. We didn't have any money at the time. But he said not to worry, we would borrow from his father and we would be able to give it back in a very short time. And this is in fact what did happen.